Sheep Raider, or Sheep, Dog, and Wolf, is a licensed game featuring the lesser-known Looney Tunes characters, Ralph Wolf and Sam Sheepdog, alongside some big names like Daffy Duck and Marvin the Martian. It uses stealth elements, very polygonal graphics, and an out-of-this-world soundtrack to piece together one of the most fun and entertaining gaming experiences available for the original PlayStation console and PC. This guide will teach you more about the different mechanics and techniques that will help you take your gameplay to the next level, and maybe even serve as the starting point of your speedrunning journey with this title. What you're about to see is a showcase of the many discoveries the world record holders and verified runners of the game have brought to light over multiple years of discussions, theories, experimentation, lab work, and perseverance. Keep in mind that this video will not be showcasing the best routes and shortcuts for each level, but instead, we'll be focusing on character, movement, and map mechanics that you need to understand in order to navigate the levels in ways the developers never intended, which has resulted in the world record completion time getting lower and lower over multiple years. However, even if you have no interest in running the game at all, understanding these mechanics will make you appreciate the game in a whole different way and provide a lot of fun for your casual playthrough, so there's definitely something for everyone here. Before we begin, it is important to clarify that we'll be referring to the many moves Ralph can perform by the buttons you need to press in order to execute them. Also, we'll be using the PlayStation button configuration and symbols, as it is the version most of the player base has previous experience with. Additionally, there has been no discussion or consensus regarding the names given to the techniques that will be used in this guide. To make things more accessible, and to allow for future reference or further questions, we'll stick with the terminology used here. With that said, let's not waste any more time and jump right into it. Many levels contain seesaws and big boulders that need to be used to launch something, mainly sheep, over long distances. When interacting with these boulders, you don't need to push them all the way through for them to drop. Every one of them will reach a point in which they will fall on their own, as a result of most of its surface not being on top of solid ground to stand on. This allows you to gain some frames that you can use to reposition yourself or get a running start. Basically, to prepare yourself to do whatever it is you need to do next. To better illustrate the benefits of the auto boulder drop trick, check out this example. Once the sheep is launched, Ralph is forced to remain motionless until it reaches the ground on the other side. If we take advantage of the frames we are gaining from letting the boulder drop by itself, we can fall from this platform, which will get us closer to our next destination, shortening the distance we need to travel. One of the game's biggest features, at least on PC, is the lack of loading times. This is true even during time travel levels, where the game forces you to watch the screen fade to black, giving the player the illusion that it is loading a second map. As you can see from this intro cutscene, both maps are already fully loaded and existing at the same time, which means this transition is completely optional and doesn't impact the level in any way, so we can just skip it. In order to do that, you need to get the time stopwatch, take it out of your inventory and use it. Ralph will start spinning and the transition will play. While that happens, and only before the map of the past appears on screen, you can quickly pause the game and reset the level. If done correctly, you will have removed time travel transition screens completely. If the level doesn't restart immediately after you have chosen that option, and the reset happens after the map of the past has finished loading in, then you missed your window and must try again. To make sure you did everything right, it doesn't hurt to try one more time, so it is recommended that you get the stopwatch again and check if the transition still plays. If it doesn't, you are all set. From this point onward, and until you exit out of the game completely, no more transitions will play. You can exit the level, go back to the main menu, and even load a different save file, but the effect will remain active. Although the any % category completes this level without any time travel, this trick is most useful when running the 100% or all levels categories, as you will need to visit the past multiple times when collecting the time clock in level 8 and navigating level bonus 2. This mechanic is very easy to understand and can be used to improve your gameplay right away. Whenever you press circle, you initiate a running animation. This animation ends some frames after you stop tapping the circle button. However, Ralph will violently brake and slide before you can control him again, which loses time and makes running feel sluggish and not worth the bother. You can avoid this braking animation by running up a slope or crashing into a wall that connects to a slope. Depending on how you engage with the slope, the animation cancel can be pretty much instant, or it can take you a few alignment frames before it forces Ralph to exit out of his running animation. Ralph is able to almost levitate on multiple platforms and interact with them in ways he's not really supposed to. This is due to his hitbox's wonky properties. The claw grip trick has only a handful of uses on very specific levels, but it always provides faster ways to traverse them or to reach key areas on the map without having to deal with long and tedious puzzle solutions. As you can see, Ralph's hitbox will even allow you to initiate a jump, even when Ralph's body is no longer on top of a platform. You will also be able to walk on breakable surfaces and interact with seesaws from lower angles. These are the most notable uses of Ralph's claw grip, but there might be other undiscovered uses that we still don't know about. Despite being designed as a way to keep Ralph away from certain areas, fences can be exploited to skip huge chunks of the levels, as long as you understand which fences can be exploited and at which positions. Basically, fence hitboxes are almost non-existent, which allows Ralph to jump over most of them and to carry sheep through them pretty easily. If you manage to bring a sheep close enough to a fence, usually with the help of a lettuce, the carry prompt will appear on screen when you move close to it. Sometimes this can be tricky, mostly because the sheep will keep trying to walk through a fence in order to reach the lettuce, which causes it to move around and makes carrying it harder, as you need it to stay in the same position over multiple frames in order for this to work. To overcome this issue, try placing a lettuce at an angle that will force the sheep to get stuck, or to continue moving towards the desired fence area for you to easily grab it. Placing it behind Ralph will prevent you from returning the lettuce to your inventory by accident. Also, keep in mind that some fences are placed at weird angles that extend their hitboxes, making them almost completely solid and impossible to exploit. As the game uses uneven polygonal shapes for level structures, hitboxes don't go in a straight line. Instead, they are distributed alongside the surface of walls and platforms, which makes some of them unintentionally climbable. You can slide up some walls by simply jumping towards them and holding forward. If the wall is climbable, you will keep ascending indefinitely. Some other walls are only climbable to an extent, as they will force Ralph to fall once he has reached a certain height. Other walls are non-climbable, but will put Ralph in an infinite falling state as long as he keeps pushing forward. It is theorized that you can cancel this animation if you get inside a costume as seen in level 12, but this still needs further experimentation to be conclusive. Before moving on, it is worth noting that this area in level 5 features a wall you can climb while holding a sheep, but not all the way through. Hopefully, with further experimentation and a proper evaluation of this wall's surface, we will find a way to reach the other side. Not a lot of people know about airgrabbing or understand what it is all about, but this technique has existed since the game was first submitted as a segmented speedrun in 2013, so it has been around from the very beginning. Basically, it allows you to stay in motion and save frames while getting items from your inventory. The only thing you need to pull this off is knowledge of the position of the item you want to grab in your inventory and have enough height. There is a single caveat though, and it's the fact that you can't enter into a running state before Ralph has fully grasped the item. Otherwise, it will return to the inventory as if nothing happened. Still, performing any other action, like walking or entering stealth mode, won't make a difference. Grabbing items while falling is very easy, but doing it from the ground is possible as well. You just need to get a high enough jump altitude, which can be achieved by double jumping with proper timing. Trying to perform this trick after a jump can result in two outcomes. If done correctly, Ralph will keep his forward momentum after landing, and he will be holding the selected item. If you are not able to reach the proper altitude, Ralph will be forced to grab the item anyway, which means he will perform the regular grounded item grab animation, leaving him motionless while it happens. Although a single air grab does not save a lot of time on its own, when you start to stack all the frames you save on each one of them over multiple levels, you start to see a difference. It is advised to always perform an air grab in segments where you are forced to be airborne, like when you are jumping from platforms, climbing trees or vines, and especially when you're falling. As a little bonus tip, if it wasn't too obvious, you can also return items to your inventory by pressing the L1 button while in the air. Just make sure to let go of all directional buttons as that happens, to avoid performing an air grab instead. The rocket you use to fly through the air can be deployed both on the ground and after a jump. Although it is very hard to notice any difference, by canceling Ralph's jumping animation with the rocket activation, the process becomes both smoother and faster, so there's really no reason to not do it every single time. These are all the techniques and tricks you need to understand and master to become a better sheep raider runner or player. If you have been watching speedruns of the game and you were wondering how exactly some skips and shortcuts were achieved, I hope this video was able to paint a better picture of how everything works and how we can exploit different mechanics to navigate the levels in different, more creative, and more importantly, faster ways. Some strategies, like how to avoid getting busted by the ghosts in level 12 when not wearing the ghost costume, or how to make the bull in level 8 fall to the water, are very level specific and don't have an impact on the way the game is played as a whole, so they have not been featured in this guide. However, if watching this video has motivated you to pick up this game, or maybe even run it for fun, and you still feel like asking questions or getting additional guidance, please feel free to ask our community directly by joining our Discord server and chatting with content creators, verified runners, and other Sheep Raider fans that may provide additional assistance for you. If you watched this video with no previous knowledge about the game, thank you for sticking around until the end. And even if you still have no interest in running it or casually playing it at all, hopefully you still had fun learning more about it. With that said, thank you very much for watching, and have fun putting what you learned today to the test.